Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about One Piece. One Piece is seen as one of the best animes by a very large group of people, and after having watched it, I totally understand why people would think that. For an anime to have run this long and have such a dedicated fan base, it certainly means that this anime has a lot of good stuff to offer. This next part is probably going to offend some people because nobody likes getting their favorite stuff criticized. However, as good as One Piece is, let's face the facts, there's certainly some parts of One Piece that aren't as good. One Piece has a lot of good to offer, but it also has its share of bad. This show has a lot of things that they should work on for sure to try to get the anime to the best it possibly could be and take the show to a new level. So in this video, I will be talking about the good things and the bad things of One Piece. Let's start with the bad stuff so we can redeem One Piece at the end, with all of the good stuff that the show has to offer. The first thing that I wanted to bring up that I think One Piece should improve is the pacing. The thing you probably hear the most of One Piece is the fact that it's a really long show. Now the problem is not the fact that it's really long, it's the fact that the pacing of One Piece is terrible. Already that the story is never ending and long to watch, the pacing of the story makes the show much harder to watch. You must constantly be skipping useless scenes because they're trying to make the episodes longer. Here are a couple of things that happen in the anime that make the pacing terrible. There is the overuse of flashbacks, kind of like in Naruto. We constantly have reaction shots that we do not need. And one of the main things that they do is lengthen the shots so they don't catch up to the manga too fast. For example, in Dressrosa arc, we kept seeing flashbacks on the Rebecca story. These flashbacks did not need to be seen as many times as they did during that arc. It is disappointing because if One Piece tried to fix their pacing, I'm sure people who don't like the story would be able to finally watch it. It's kind of like if AOT, the story has no filler, no extra shots, the episode is shown and that's that. I think that they should certainly fix it and it would make the watching of the show that much greater. Another thing that messes up the pacing is the constant reaction shots of every single random character in the background for no reason whatsoever. Just look at the Marineford arc, arguably One Piece's best arc, and yet still plagued with this problem. Every time somebody does something or says something, we always saw like a random reaction shots of every single character that were there just to lengthen the episodes. They don't add anything important, nor do they make the show any more interesting. The pacing in Marineford was probably at its best. Now imagine how good it would have been without the extra reaction shots and great pacing. Another thing that's messing up the pacing is the fact that they lengthen shots. Choose any episode that you want out of the 1036 of them, and I promise you, if you pay any attention, there are shots that are extended for no reason and don't give any more info or add anything interesting. I'm going to number generate 3 episodes between the first episode and the most recent one that I've watched, and show you examples from all 3 of these episodes. The numbers that I got with the random number generator were 484, 532, and 311. Finally, we have the most common time killer in One Piece cinematic universe, and it's the opening plus the recap of the last episode. That is common in every single of the One Piece episodes.
Wealth, fame, power. Gold Roger, the king of the pirates, attained this and everything else the world had to offer.
If you combine these two, they take 4 minutes out of the actual One Piece content. So basically now instead of getting a 22-minute episode, we're getting only an 18-minute episode. Just because there's a recap at the beginning and at the end that we didn't ask for. All of these factors combined make One Piece terribly long to watch and make the pacing of the story overall terrible, absolutely terrible. On top of already having long arcs, which isn't a problem if it's interesting, but the thing is, if everything that we see is only to fit less of the manga in each episode, then it's kind of like a big you to the watcher. For example, the Dressrosa arc is 118 episodes, and it took almost half of the arc to get really interesting. So what happened there? Flashbacks, lengthened shots, reaction shots, which came and screwed with the pacing of an otherwise great arc. The next thing that I think One Piece should improve in is the sound design. I don't think that's One Piece has put much effort into the sound design at all. This one is obviously much more subjective. However, after watching a good couple of animes, I know what a great sound design is and what's not. For example, there's a reason Naruto gets constant praise for their sound design, and that's because everything is so crisp, clean, and the sound makes total sense with what's going on the scene, and they change the sounds when the action changes. Like, it just makes total sense. Another example of a good sound design would be Fire Force. And if you've seen Fire Force, then you know which moment I'm about to reference. It's basically the fight between Benimaru and the demon, and it just in that fight alone, you get to hear like a masterpiece of a sound, and like just hearing that little sound, that little like half a second sound, just goes to show how much time and effort they put to find the perfect sound to describe that attack. And it's something that is great to see in animes, but One Piece lacks this. It doesn't seem like they put any effort whatsoever into the sound. They just recorded a couple sounds in 1999 back then, and they've been reusing them ever since. So yeah, One Piece doesn't even come close to like Fire Force's or Naruto's level whatsoever. Here are some things or some examples that come to mind when saying that One Piece has a bad sound design. Basically, when anybody touches a sword, there's always the same sound no matter what, no matter who, no matter when, or no matter how they touch it. It's always the same stupid sound. Even sometimes it doesn't even necessarily need a sound because the action doesn't make the sound, yet there's a noise. And I guess I might be the only one, but that absolutely pisses me off. Sometimes we hear people walking, but if you use like a little bit of your brain, you can tell that the sounds don't match up with the amount of steps or the length or of the distance that they're walking and stuff like that. Anytime there's something with electricity, it's always the same sound, even if it doesn't come from the same person or thing or whatever. And yes, this is absolutely being nitpicky, but like if you guys have been running for over like 20 years and you still cheap out on so many levels of the anime, even though it's a money printing machine, it's basically just like, I don't know, it's very disrespectful to the watchers. Like, how difficult is it to just put more effort inside of the anime when you guys are already making a shit ton of money, you know? It's not because you guys are missing money. So basically, One Piece has made a shit ton of money, so I don't even know how they could be this lazy with the sound design. Like, I just think if they fixed the sound, it would make the anime so much more interesting to watch instead of just hearing the same repeated over and over and over sounds that don't even make sense in certain circumstances. Now, let's move on to the characters. Something about the characters that I don't think that helps with the watching of One Piece is the first thing that kind of touches the sound design as well, but doesn't have to do anything with it really. I don't think that every like second villain that we see on screen needs to have a specific laugh. First of all, people don't even laugh that much in real life, and second of all, nobody has a unique laugh to that extent, you know? But it's really the laugh that annoys me the most, and it's more the fact that the character laughs constantly, so you're constantly getting reminded that this person has like a really random laugh. And like I said, it's just the fact that it's an annoying laugh. It's not the fact that the person is laughing a lot or whatever. It's just annoying. It's like, don't make the person, I don't want to hear it constantly, you know? That's all I'm saying. All of these people have their screen time shared with their laugh, and personally, after the long arcs, I can't stand hearing those laughs anymore whatsoever. Another problem that I think happens in One Piece and kind of sucks is the fact that there's such a great cast of characters that is constantly getting updated and renewed with new characters from new arcs. But the thing is that you get so much less time to spend with your favorite characters that you know from before. Just for example, after the time skip, Chopper's screen time started to get cut immensely, even though he is one of the best characters and one of the main characters. So that is one of the main problems with the characters of One Piece. Because like the story needs certain characters for certain things and leaves behind other characters, which is logical, but it just sucks, you know? And like to compensate for that, they make like all the characters have their lines or say at least one thing during a conversation, which isn't really natural, but like it's only so your character, so you could say that you got to saw your favorite character in action. And again, I understand that this anime, of course, it makes total sense that there's going to be a constant introduction of new people, and it makes total sense. It really sucks because of that. We get to see less of the people that we know and love, and we have to see more people, which is totally fine, and it makes total sense with the story. It just kind of, sucks because you get to see less of the characters that you kind of grew up with. The third thing about the One Piece characters is less about the characters and more about the writing and the author. Oda does not want to kill off any of his characters, as he's already stated, and I understand that you have like developed an emotional attachment to them. But come on, you know how much more impactful the story would be if there was actually any stakes involved ever? I've never been scared that the characters that we love are going to die, because he won't let them die. So there's never any tension of knowing if your favorite character might die, because you just know that that's not gonna happen. It's like really unrealistic, and it just takes away the element of having any stress or like tension, and just the stakes during episodes. And it's pretty unnatural to have so many characters look like they die and just magically come back later in a new arc or whatever. It just takes you out of the story. And I'm not saying I want any of the characters to die, but I'm just saying I think it would make the story better because you would be stressed for your favorite characters, kind of like AOT. You didn't know who would live and who would die. It had that suspense to it the whole time. Like even the main character dies like basically right away. Do you know how much guts it takes to kill off your main character basically right away? So I think that One Piece does not have that because the author is reluctant to kill off some characters and kind of brings the story down. I think the story would be more impactful, more interesting, more suspenseful, and it would I think it would kind of change the overall viewing of the whole anime if that was implemented to the story. So due to all of these factors, I think One Piece is not as great as it could be. If they took the time to fix these problems that I've just mentioned, I think it would make the experience much more enjoyable for the watcher and would make all the people who don't like One Piece for the pacing and the other things that I've mentioned actually start to watch it because they would know that all of this has been fixed. By fixing all of these things, they could make the experience much better and just make the overall anime that much better. Now that I've spent the last 10 minutes absolutely bashing One Piece, now let's get into the good stuff and see what One Piece has to offer to compensate for all of these negative things. So, as much as One Piece has its downs, it very obviously has to have its ups for the anime to have such a dedicated fan base. Even after all the negative, time and time again, One Piece shows us why it is the greatest. Each new arc and each new episode just brings more and more greatness, which is very much enough for us to let all the negatives slide. The first redeeming quality that One Piece has going for it is the plot. If the story wasn't as good and not as captivating to the watcher, then One Piece would have died out long ago. Over 20 years have passed since the beginning of the story, and this anime still pulls in new watchers constantly with great moments throughout many arcs. At first, the 1,000+ episodes can seem overwhelming, but the second that you start to enjoy the story, when you get to the end, you just want more and more One Piece content. The story really gets you hooked and gets you invested in seeing the Straw Hat crew find the One Piece and Luffy becoming the king of the pirates. The story just goes absolutely insane even after a stupid number of arcs. The story keeps going. The overall story has great characters, great action, great plot points, a certain mystery to it, a very original design, a great world building, and a great power system overall. So yeah, One Piece has some of the best story arcs right now. And I think that that in itself can come and redeem everything negative that I brought up previously about One Piece. Where the story really shines and does well is the part where you're supposed to feel like you're a part of the Straw Hats and not just some person watching the show. You really feel included in their little gang and their pirate crew, and you never feel left out. You feel like you're along the journey with them. The next great thing about One Piece is the fact that it has a growing cast with every new episode. So basically what I mean by that is that the characters are constantly getting renewed. In every new episode, we get to meet new people to fall in love with and maybe become like your new favorite character. With the cast One Piece has, now we get to see them grow and evolve ever since their introduction to the story. Just look at the main cast, Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, Nami, Usopp. They have all had like immense time to grow and evolve and work out the issues that they had as characters at the beginning of the story. We have been able to meet an immense cast of characters over an immense amount of episodes, and that allows us to really grow and get attached to these characters that we have been following for over 2 decades. All of these characters all have their own defining characteristics, so even with that immense number of characters, you don't feel as if they're just the same people over and over and over again. The characters are all well written and have their own touching backstories and intro arcs and whatnot, and they just make the show so much more enjoyable to watch. Something great that comes from having a cast such as One Piece is when we see them all interacting together. They have a great dynamic, and it's cute and heartwarming to see all of these fictional characters get along so well and just come together. As I previously mentioned, another great thing in the One Piece universe is the power system. And the power system in One Piece is certainly one of the most unique ones out there, especially with the fact that we don't know much about the devil fruits yet. So we don't know like where they're from and how they're made and how they affect people. Like in other series, you always get kind of like a certain explanation at the beginning on how this happened and why it happened and like a whole small like backstory on everything that's going on. But with One Piece, we don't really get. It's kind of still like a mystery even after all of these episodes, which is great. But like I just said, it kind of drives the mystery and the story as well. The devil fruit system has originality on its side because it basically any characteristic that you could think of could be a devil fruit. Even though some devil fruits do seem to be very similar, it doesn't change the fact that it is a great power system that allows certain characters to shine and equally allows people without devil fruits to shine as well through the use of haki. Hockey is there to counterbalance the strength between the devil fruit users and the regular folks, and I think that it's great because it allows all the characters to be badass, not just the special devil fruit ones. Hockey and devil fruits are both very well explained and easy to grasp, so you're not confused every time they appear on screen, and they make the fight scenes much more interesting and bring stakes that couldn't be there without that power system. Another thing that One Piece does well is the world building. First of all, they didn't really have a choice but to perfect and explain the world building like really well, because if not, the whole story would be a lot more confusing and just seem lacking overall. Especially with like the One Piece exploration theme, where they just kind of explore the whole world and try to like reveal the One Piece mystery and all that stuff. So if we didn't really have like a clear concept of how the world worked and was, then I don't think it could work as well. I think the anime as a whole and the manga would just be a lot worse, like probably even trash. It just makes sense that an anime centered around exploring the world, island by island, would have like a great world building to accompany it. We have like a feel of where everything is located and have like a sense of space that comes with the exploration of the world. For example, the concept of the four different seas are really easy to understand and already give you points to which you can refer yourself if you don't understand like the world building whatsoever. I have never watched a One Piece episode and thought to myself, wow, I'm totally lost and I don't know where the Straw Hats are geographically on the world. I know about everything that is going on in the planet, and that's because the world building is so well done. And it just brings you that sense of not only being well explained, but just of exploration as well. So I've always gotten like that sense of special awareness and like feeling that I'm exploring the world along with them, even with the new world aspect introduced to the world building. It really wasn't difficult to understand and incorporate that information to the pre existing knowledge of the world that the One Piece world building had given us. Now, the last thing that I wanted to bring up that makes One Piece so great has less to do with like the story and the characters and the plot and the world building and the devil fruits and the power system and everything. It just kind of leaves like the general theme overall. But basically, what One Piece does very well is the openings that One Piece has are never disappointing. Every time they change to a new opening, it's always consistently a banger, like without a doubt. Even without looking at the openings, one Piece has given us some musical gems, such as Luffy singing during the Skype arc. and everyone's favorite anime song, Boku wa Dokta, which is without a doubt a banger. So even before getting into like the episode, the openings are there to get you hyped for what's coming, and man, does One Piece know how to do a great job when it comes to this aspect of the anime. It always gets you hyped up for what's about to come, and you always feel like that energy surge show up when you first see and first hear that opening. Man, do they do this well. So there you have it, a review of everything bad but also good about One Piece. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm thinking of starting a series like Cinema Sins, but like for anime. So if any of you watch the video, like the whole video, and hear this, let me know if you think it's a good idea and that would be like content that you would like to see. So yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you guys next time.